This is Zenzi. That's Zanzi. Payroll name Deb. Dear Professor, the world is not behaving in a way that makes us seem like the pinnacle of evolution so far. The thing is, as I think you and I perhaps most especially know, it's not going to be planet of anything terrestrial. It's going straight to the killer whales. Them orcas. They've been planning all this. I'm a 53-and-a-quarter-year-old woman who puts Franz Kafka to shame. My midlife metamorphosis was from a polar bear to a giraffe. That's right. I was an Arctic mammal, polar bear, huge, large, in charge, lived in my own ecosystem. My only companion is an Arctic fox. And because of the state of the world and the need for a wise feminine philosopher to point out how wrong everyone's gotten everything, I had to become a giraffe, able to stroll the savannah, generating calm, able to really use my size to kick a bunch of asses. But most animals kind of get, I got this superpower vision, sees off into the future just because of how I'm wired. That's right, my nervous system. As an autistic human, always operating complexly and way far in advance because I have lived a life of so much neglect, so much isolation. I'm kidding about these polar bear giraffe situations. I stayed alive, 333 pounds when I turned 50. This is not just me playing metaphors. This is a real, truthful, honest change that I did with my thinking equipment. I didn't use any standard diet or exercise advice. Y'all getting it wrong. Primate's memoir of how she evolved into a giraffe. I'm spending 50 years as a polar bear. Look, I've been thinking about your homunculus. You got at the end of Behave, where you're sort of understanding where you're at for free will and whatnot and so forth. And this is because the lean back and stop the dog. She's in great distress from being homeless for 15 months. This is what the world does to an apex intellect in 2022. I have escaped plantation capitalism. I have escaped the Cartesian split, Newtonian physics, Freudian penis envy, escaped Darwinian randomness, and survival of the fittest, and Einsteinian, God doesn't play dice with we play dice a lot. Because he just us. God is within us. Now, neither one of us is atheists. Use that word anyway like the rest of the people. I don't know what the rest of the people are talking about, to be perfectly frank. They're anthropomorphizing a concept like a supreme being is really very delusional, is it not? Okay. Here's the deal. I am the developer of the philosophical hypothesis of bioelectricity. You want your answer to Alzheimer's? You want your answer to Parkinson's and morbid obesity and chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia? Philosophical hypothesis of bioelectricity yields I mean, once again, once you start pivoting, Descartes, Newton, Freud, Darwin, and Einstein, you definitely get to start calling yourself an apex intellect. Give me some more men to be, again, because I'm disputing you in the homunculus. I don't know how to say that word. Nobody's ever said it. I've never heard anybody say it. Of course, I know the little man across star. It's a cute concept. And certainly, I mean, afferent, gotta have the wiring built in, right, that we can have that little man. Be a little person. You see, over on the electricity side, David Bodanis, a couple great books. Electric Universe, and he wrote a biography of E equals mc squared. Can explain consciousness using E equals mc squared. I can get better at explaining consciousness using E equals mc cubed. And I will be the little redhead girl who's grown up to give Sigmund Freud vagina envy, because I'm gonna have the most famous equation right beyond E equals mc squared. There's the equation for human energy. And y'all had your time, because I'm lumping you in, but I think you're the exception. You have got some blind spots. Imagine if one of the baboons turned 50, became an entirely different baboon. We just need to get this brain wired up and trance. So it's kind of curious. This is very curious. Just going through Behave, and I notice at the end you bring up both Gazzaniga and Dennett. Gazzaniga. That name, you know why it's hard for me. And Dennett. And this is just the randomness of what was on the shelves in the Napa Valley Library as far as most current books on consciousness. Funny that you mentioned both of them. Behave. We think alike. These guys, though. Consciousness is an instinct. Oh, please. And it's semiotics. I kind of follow Dennett. Can't follow himself. I mean, they all... Dart a philosopher in 2022? You know who's thinking they are obsessed with? Machines. We've got a huge problem. We are suffering from planetary dilemmas. Many of them. Not just climate change. If you want my opinion, it's the dehumanization of plantation capitalism that's going to take us out via hyper-digitalization. But also, it's the ever-escalating burdens of chronic disease and mental illness. These people, they are not well. I'm the founder of #Wellbeing Philosophy, and I need a guy like you who wants to show up in his elder years doing new bleeding-edge science. Forget about neuroscience. We're about to invent the next neuroscience. Now, I told you anything, really. Because I gotta be booked up. I got all this IP. Nobody sees the value in it, and I can't get anyone to listen to me. But if you'd like to share in some papering, I don't even know what journal. See, I don't think there's even a journal. You know, I'm going to make the Nobel people cry. They've been not prizing philosophers for all this time. But I'm going to be okay because I can do physiology. Get a Nobel Prize in physiology from thought experiments. Well, that's what happens when you understand consciousness. You do understand that I'm now the most mentally fit human on the planet. If I've sorted consciousness. Then I have. That's how come I'm staying alive. That's how come I can choose which mammalian spirit animal I want to. From hibernating all the time, to being the one who sees the horizon. Get my freckles on, get myself to Africa. Imagine going back to Africa to study a different kind of primate. Try to save our species from self-extincting, and it's less than 30 years we've got right now. And to do so, right off the US of hypocrisy, I think you know what I'm saying here. We are not capable. Middle class Americans, liberal or whatever, not capable of this. The amount of white women who burst out in tears, I can't listen to what you're going through. Sure enough, they've left me to die. Everyone gonna be leaving everyone to die very, very soon. It's going to be not okay. I'm feeling a little Linda Hamilton-y all the time. He's gonna be back. All right, that's that. I am proposing that I have solved Alzheimer's. I have solved the new brazenly brilliant hypotheses, of course, that leads to all the science that will ultimately prove and then find strategies that can be replicated to deal with the bioelectrical malfunctions that are the causality of Alzheimer's. You fix that bioelectricity, that brain, a little bit of collateral damage, maybe, who knows. My case, I fixed the bioelectricity. I had a toxic mold exposure. I have some lens, low energy neurofeedback data about my brain from August to October 2018. Out of 21 regions of my brain, 18 were way below. And one was in seizure. 2 out of 21 regions of my brain were operating in beta brainwaves. I know this is the right thing to end on. I got lost. But gamma brainwaves, doing thought experiments about what gamma brainwaves are, where our memories are, where the subconscious is, how it works. I mean, this is great science. Because, again, science is in the middle, and you got your math, that's your left brain stuff, right? The philosophy is your right brain. Storytelling aspect of science. And I am the founder of #WellbeingPhilosophy, thinking about how we think about being human. And I've sorted it all into a coherent theory of everything based on the philosophical hypothesis of bioelectricity, which yields a unifying theory of human energy, potential, well-being, body, mind, soul, making me the Sherlock of human functioning. The Einstein of consciousness. The Socrates of the 2020s. And I know for a fact intuition is telling me that my Plato is sub-Sahara. I don't know where. Let's figure it out. Let's get a budget and let me go do some field work. Sons. The San. I'm looking to go hang out with the San in the wherever I might find them. Kalahari, Botswana, Namibia. I'm 1 degree of separation. Via LinkedIn. I know one of the leaders of Mandela's transition government. who wrote some good articles. He had been invited out to spend some time with Igubi, one of the San elders who recently passed, and social media, LinkedIn, nobody cared about my posts about an elder who's attached to our 150 to 200,000 year old ancestors. So, and I've already written a feature film, Landalozzi. Probably know about Landalozzi at this point, maybe not. But Landalozzi is a great name for a movie. Protector of all living beings. This has been Zenzile. You're responsible for what you become. Landalozzi, protector of all living beings. So again, the founder, #Wellbeing Philosophy. I'm a Carnegie Mellon degreed philosopher who spent 2 decades doing software, payroll, implementation consulting in Silicon Valley. Let's see if I could spend my advanced degree earning years at Stanford. Harmony.